Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2020 April kits again. This is my 6th layout using these kits, and I'm going to be using some colors that I don't normally go for quite often, and they're the colors that are on this Summer Market sticker sheet from Cartabella. I'm going to also use one of the cut files that are free for this month that you can find over on our website. And it's one of the butterflies. I believe there are three or four different styles of butterflies. I am going to use just this one, and I went ahead and cut them same size on 6 different papers. One of them is just white cardstock. But I was trying to get one of each butterfly in the main colors that are on that Summer Market sticker sheet, including this red color and that bright green color, which are two colors that I tend to shy away from because they're just hard for me to work with. But I found these pictures of my daughter from a few years ago, and these colors are in her swimsuit. I know it's hard to tell, but her swimsuit has bright yellow, it has red, it has green, and soft pink in it. And I thought, this is a very odd color scheme for me, but it does scream summer, and I'm just going to go with it. And I'm going to challenge myself to go with it. And I'm also going to use this pattern paper as my background. And it is very bright yellow and white gingham, also from the Summer Market collection. And so I'm going to do a lot of whiting out of the center area. And I'm going to use white acrylic paint here. And you can see how it's different from gesso. It's going to dry pretty quickly. It's not going to smudge and blend as easy, but it's thicker and it's quicker to white out some of this pattern. It would take lots of coats of gesso to do what one coat of this paint can do. So I'm going to cover all the spots that I want first and let that dry with the paint, and then I'm going to come back with the white gesso on top of that, and that's going to help all of the watercolor and all of the things from the color kit that I'm going to add. It's going to help that to smudge and blend and, work better together, because the paint, it's going to dry pretty slick and smooth, and it's just a different texture and a different consistency than the gesso. The gesso's got a little bit of grit to it, even though it's thinner. So that's why I'm going to cover all the rest of this with the gesso as well. And I want all this yellow to kind of show a little bit through the white, which you can still see it, and then more around the edges, because I'm going to put all these bold butterflies on this background, so I need some white space for that to happen. And if I just put it directly onto that pattern paper, it's so busy with all of the gingham pattern that it would just be way overkill. So that's what the white space is for. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of blue. I'm going to do some different colors here. I'm going to mix and match some of the Lindy's sprays that we got in past color kits with those 3 different colors of Art Philosophy watercolors that come in the April color kit. And I've been using these colors frequently on my layouts this month. The 2 blue sprays are Blue Hawaiian Blue and Tiffany Lou Blue, and then I added a little drop of the Green Lucky, which is from this month. And I'm just trying to create that summery pool color, aqua-ish blue on the background. And I know you can't see any pool in the layouts or in the pictures. These are, she's standing by the pool and she's standing in front of a hedge. And so the background's pretty dark, but this is still a summer layout. I've already got lots of yellow, so I wanted to incorporate some blue in there. Since one of the butterflies is a really soft minty color, I wanted the background to have a little bit of a darker bluish color. And then I thought I would go with a little bit of pink on the background, since one of the butterflies is a soft pink. And then I'm trying to figure out about that red color, because every time I try to do red mixed media, it just looks like a murder scene, it looks like blood, and I don't want that. So I'm going to try to stay away from red splotches or splatters, and I think I handle it okay. We'll see how I do that as we go here. And you can tell that the paper is starting to warp a little bit. That's normal. It's going to happen. It's just pattern paper. And even though you prep it with gesso, and in this case, gesso and paint, you know, it's still paper and it's gonna warp. I'm adding a lot of water to it, but I'm gonna be able to flatten that out overnight, and it makes a big difference the next day once it's all dry. But you can kind of see what I'm going with here. It's still going to dry a little bit lighter. It's pretty soft. I don't want the background colors to be as dark as the butterflies because I want them to stand out. I added a little bit of the honey color that we got this month, and it was just way too yellow. So I dabbed a little bit of it up, and then I'm going to mix in one of the Lindy's sprays that we got a while back, and it's Yellow Rose of Texas. Just going to spray a little bit of that on and use some water in my brush to kind of spread it around a little bit. And I know this looks like a big wet soppy mess, but once it's dry and once everything comes back on top of it, it's going to look totally different. And I want to use that sticker that I just tested out there. It's on that Summer Market sheet. It's a little banner that says summer, and it's got all of these colors in it. And I think it's going to just pull everything together, and the layout, the color scheme is going to make more sense once all the embellishments are back on there. And like I said, her swimsuit sort of works with it too, because it does have those colors in it. And I totally forgot about that swimsuit matching these colors until I just was scrolling through my computer and saw them. And I thought, oh, I have to use those. And I don't think I've scrapped this color scheme probably ever, because, you know, I tend to go for just pinks, yellows, and blues. So adding in this red color and that grass green color is a challenge. All right, so here's what I did try to do on the pink section to make it a little bit more of a reddish color to match that red butterfly. I pulled in some of the powder that we got a while back from Lindy's, and that's called Alpine Ice Rose, and it's got some red tones in it, and added a little bit more of the pink from this month called Blush, and I think it works okay. It does dry a little bit lighter than I was hoping for, but I'm gonna work with it. And you can kind of see now why I added the white paint. You can still see the gingham a little bit through the mixed media, but it's very, very faint. And then I like how it just kind of fades out, and then around the edges you can really see the white and the yellow. And so you know that, you know, that pattern is there. It's just kind of hidden underneath everything. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do the photos, how I wanted to order them, because in one of them she's looking toward the left, and then in the other one she's, you know, completely turned around. So I'm still debating on how I want to put the photos, you know, where I want them to go exactly. And so that's going to kind of determine where the butterflies go as well. And I know I want the butterflies to kind of come out from underneath where the photos are and kind of have them scattered, you know, kind of like they're flying everywhere, because that's just how butterflies usually are. And I don't want them, you know, to look too placed. I want them to look natural. And so I took a little break, and, you know, that's kind of where they landed. So I think they're going to look something similar to that. So I'm going to play around with some of the sticker placement and see which stickers I want to use, where they might go. And then the more I looked at the butterflies, the red and the green one are so dark and so bold. I thought that I would kind of add a little bit of white paint around the edges. I'm just going to use my brush, kind of brush it on, use my finger to kind of smudge it. And this just kind of gives a little bit of dimension to them and makes them not look so flat and not so, you know, one color. And they're on pattern paper, so there are details on these butterflies, but when you look at them from afar like this, it just looks like solid red, solid green. And this just kind of gives them a little bit of distressing and just a little bit of interest. And so, you know, there's a little bit of light spots on there, and so they're not so dark. It makes a difference in person, I think. So here's what I did to kind of add that red color down around the photo on the right where the pink section is. I'm going to use a little bit of water and this gelato from my stash. It's kind of a reddish orange color, and smudge a little bit kind of coming out from behind the photo. And I think this makes a big difference. It's not a solid red. It's more of a orangey red, but it matches that color perfectly. And yeah, gelatos are great. They kind of just smudge on like lipstick, and you can smudge them with your finger really, really easily. You know, if you add water to them, they smudge even more. And I like the way that looks. I think that looks a lot, makes the photos stand out a little bit more. And it also matches that butterfly a little bit better. So for this banner, I'm going to trim off a little bit of the white border so it's not such a thick white border around the edges. And then that's going to go over to the left, kind of overlapping the photo on the left. And I want to pop that up off the page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now with some adhesive foam. And I'm trying to decide about the butterflies. I love stitching through butterflies, so I think I'm going to do that here in just a minute. That pattern paper with the flowers is also from the Summer Market collection. It's actually another sheet of my background paper. On the back side of the flowers is that yellow and white gingham, so I've got 2 sheets of that. So I'm fussy cutting out some of these flowers, some of the red ones, some of these little cute yellow ones, and I'm going to create a little cluster over to the right there. And then look back at the sticker sheet. I wanted to use another little floral cluster underneath the 2 photos, but I'm going to go ahead and trim off the border again. Sometimes I'll leave the borders on, sometimes I trim those off. It just depends on how they look. Sometimes the white border just makes the sticker stand out way more than I want it to, so that's why I trim those off. All right, I'm going to work on the photos. This is just a very used scrap piece of white tissue paper that I found over on my desk that is always a mess. And I'm going to glue that behind the photos there, trim that off, and it's just going to create a little messy border around the edges. It's uneven, it's crooked, it's torn, but I like it. And then I'm going to pop the pictures up as well with some adhesive foam. And they're going to be the same level as the banner. And here is where I'm going to decide officially that the butterflies are going to go right there. I think they look pretty like this. I like how some of them are turning to the left, some of them are turning to the right. And I'm going to glue down just on the centers, and then I did some stitching off camera. I did each one in the matching color. I just stitched through right above the butterfly, right through the middle, and then did a little trail kind of coming down the bottom part of the page and kind of overlap the stitches. And I love that. I think that just adds such cool texture and dimension, especially with butterflies, because it just kind of creates a little trail so you knew that, or you can tell that, you know, the butterfly just flew in that direction and left a little, which they don't actually leave trails, but for some reason, do they? I don't think they do. For some reason on my scrapbook pages, I think that just completes a butterfly page. I don't even know why. That's probably all in my head, but I don't know. It's just, it gives the indication that they just flew from that direction. Yes, that probably sounds cuckoo, but who cares, right? It's your own imagination. I'm going to cut up that little piece that says Dream Big. I just want the little edges of that. That's from a crepe paper. So I'm going to cut that off, distress the edges, and stick it above and below the photos. And then I'm going to tuck in some thread there. That's the light minty blue color. It kind of pulls from the background color. Even if the background blue is a little bit darker, I think it works. And I'm going to tuck a little bit of the same color over on the left. And this winds up kind of getting covered up, but you can still see it peeking from underneath the banner. And I did tuck another fussy cut flower over there to the left. So I've kind of got those little pops of red going everywhere, even though I had no idea that I was going to finally make a layout using bright yellow, bright red, and bright green. If you would have told me that last week, I would have said, you're crazy. No. But here we are using these colors. And I like a challenge, you know. I do like making comfort layouts, which means the colors that I'm always comfortable using, that I know will always look pretty together. But every now and then, it's fun to challenge yourself to use those colors that you don't normally use. I mean, I wound up really liking how this turns out, even though it contains colors that I don't love. But when they're all brought together, all the embellishments are there. Your picture kind of has those colors as well. It just sort of makes sense. Now I'm going to make sure everything's glued down, gluing down all the little flowers, the photos. The butterflies are done. They're already stitched through. So now it's just making sure that everything's glued down. I'm almost finished. I love that little summer banner. I've actually been wanting to use that since I opened the kits weeks ago, but the red just sort of made me scared. So I finally made myself do it, and it didn't hurt at all. Who'd have thunk it, right? Try to use those colors that you don't like every once in a while, even if it's just a little bit. Just try it. You don't have to do it all the time, but you know, if it's in the kits, there's other things in the kits that will work with it and will make it doable. I'm actually going to work in some of these flowers from the Crate Paper stickers right there. That one's got some pink and green on it. And yeah, I'm going to go simple with the title. It's just going to be Summer Days. So I'm going to mix and match that banner with these giant, gorgeous, amazing, awesome pink foam thickers. And I like that they're pink. I like that they're big and they are so sticky. They're like the one thing that I don't have to add extra glue to. They're awesome. And I like the pop of pink that they give right there in that area, since I do have some of that pink color going on in the layout, kind of behind the picture in one of the butterflies. It just kind of works. And then I'm going to come back in with some splatters. I'm going to come back in with the yellow Lindy's, the Yellow Rose of Texas, and do a little bit of that. And then I decided that I needed some more little flowers down on the days part. So I didn't have any tiny red flowers except in these two floral stickers. So I'm going to just cut right into them. I'm going to just cut them out and use just the parts that I want. And then cut one more of the yellow. I needed something yellow that wasn't too big, and this was the only thing that I had left. I used some of those over on the right, so I'm just going to cut one of those out and stick it down there. And now I have a little cluster of red over there because I just felt like the title looked kind of empty, and so I think that kind of finishes that area off. And then pink splatters are coming next. This is back to the Art Philosophy in blush that I used in the beginning. And then we're almost finished. We're going to use my ruler to draw some lines and my black fine tip Sharpie to write my journaling. And that is it. I like how this turned out. It was a fun challenge to do. Still not a huge fan of red, but I like how it works here. Like I said, it works with her swimsuit. It works with this collection. And, you know, it is a summer color scheme. It's just not one that I tend to use a lot. But now that I actually think it's really pretty. And I like how the red looks up against the green and the yellow and the aqua. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have you checked out this butterfly cut file? It's really, really pretty. Like I said, there's a couple different styles of butterflies on the one cut file. You can find that over in the on the HipKit website under downloads. So make sure you check that out. And I believe the May kits are shipping. I still don't have mine yet. Looking forward to getting it. But let me know if you have any questions. And I hope you guys have a great week. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.